Hey folks, Moose here. Want to talk about a favorite set of lenses of mine. That's the PCE lenses, the 24, 45, and 85. These are great lenses. They have a number of things in common. First and foremost, they are wicked sharp. Next, they are manual focus. And then they have the ability to shift and tilt. Now I use them a lot, talk about them a lot. How to use this lens? Film plane, parallel to subject, you're done. That's it. That's the whole thing. Now, it's a problem-solving tool. What's the problem? Well, normally, when you're photographing something tall, like a building or trees, in order to get the composition you want in the viewfinder, you have to tilt the camera up. When you tilt that camera like that, this film plane no longer parallel, and you tilt it, what happens is the lines at the top of the frame, they converge in. The building, the trees, they converge in, okay? So, to avoid that, solve the problem, you put the film plane parallel to the subject. That's it. Seriously. Okay? No more, no less. Now, if we have to have a step-by-step recipe to use this lens, it's pretty simple. Film plane, parallel to subject. When you do that, you're no longer tilting the camera up to get the top of the frame. So what do? You simply rise the front of the lens till you get the composition you want, get the top of the subject in the frame, and go click. That's it, okay? The only trick, if there is any in this whole process, and most people, it's not a big problem because you have an LCD. People use that for their exposure anyway, like they shouldn't, okay? Is that when you're shooting normally, the light path goes straight through, gives you the right exposure meeting. Well, when you bend this lens, when you shift it, the light's no longer going straight. It goes in, goes down, and then across to the CCD. When it makes that bend, the exposure, the light path is no longer accurate. So to get exposure reading, correct one, you have two options. One is before you do any shifting, take a meter reading and hold down the AEL button right here, the auto exposure lock button. Lock the exposure in, then do your shifting and shoot. Between you and me though, that's just too complicated for me. It's more than I can do is all those pushing the buttons, holding it, and everything else. What do? I dial in plus a half, that's plus a half, or plus one stop, and shoot. Fast rate time though, I do not have this on a tripod. I'm hand holding when I'm shooting buildings or trees. Ultra wide panels, yeah, it's on a tripod, but everything else, it's handheld. Well, how do you hand hold and get this parallel to subject? Real simple. Look through the viewfinder. Look at the edge of the building or the tree you want straight. Put that next to the viewfinder in the inside of there, that straight line, and when the two are parallel, boom, this is parallel. Shift it up, shoot, and go. That's it. Now the lenses do have a tilt function to them. I used it maybe once, okay? I don't use it very often, obviously. How do you use it? Well, the best thing to do is simply do your own test. The tilt, because of the great engineering, takes just a itty bitty little half tad of a tilt, and boom, you change the film plane, okay? So everything's in focus. Get a yardstick out, stick some elements in there, shoot for yourself, a simple test, see where it's all gonna be focused, because you can't see it in the viewfinder. There's just not enough information in the viewfinder to see that incredible depth of field you might be gaining, and then you know how far you have to tilt it, or not tilt it. Now hopefully, this simple explanation, because there's videos and PDFs already on the website about this, this is now gonna convince those people who thought I was goofing on them that really, to use this lens, all you do is keep the film plane parallel to subject and go. It's a great tool. I just love them to death. They make great images, especially for my landscape work. So hopefully that inspires you to go out and nothing else, rent them, maybe even buy them. There's no mystery to using them. Go out, make some great images.